Are you looking into Bitcoin? Maybe you're looking into some other cryptocurrency, XRP, Dogecoin, Ethereum. This video today is going to talk about what make Bitcoin one of the smartest investments that's out there right now, okay? I know a lot of people say that crypto is a scam and it's too risky, but keep in mind, right? All investments that we make have some play of risk in it. Think about buying a house, right? You don't know what comes with it. You don't know how there might be termites. It may have passed inspection, but things may have, deteriorated and you don't know. Or maybe you invest into one of the best companies in the world, say for example, I don't know, Microsoft, and you don't know how they're going to perform. So ultimately in this video, I'm going to share with you the numbers that tell a very different story. By the end of this, right, you're going to be getting exactly why the biggest companies in the world, the largest investment institutions, are buying Bitcoin right now. And I'm going to show you real data, okay? Not everything's going to be my opinion. In my videos, I like to have data that I've researched to show you that's credible, okay? Not just, again, what I think, how I feel. So if you can do me a favor, click that like button, okay? That thumbs up, press on that subscribe button. And I just want to let you know that I have a second video coming out on the cons of cryptocurrency, the bad side of it, right? Of course, this is going to be the good side of it. So we'll go ahead and share those things with you. Whatever you have on your mind about cryptocurrency, any questions you may have, drop it into the comments, or I'm sorry, drop it into the comments, and I will try my absolute best to respond back to you. Okay, so let's get going. So let me first start by telling you that, there's something that everyone gets wrong about crypto. Okay, they say don't buy Bitcoin because it's a scam. There's a bubble going on with it. But look at what actually happened. Okay, with all due respect, there's risk in it, and things have happened and brought it down. But Bitcoin, nonetheless, have survived four major crashes and came back stronger every time. If you put $10 a week into Bitcoin over 5 years, you would have turned $2,620 into almost $8,000. Okay, that's a 202% return right there. And this ain't just some random people buying it anymore as well, right? I mentioned the large investment institutions, BlackRock, the biggest investment company on earth, right? They hold 800,000 Bitcoins right now. Okay, a Bitcoin today is it's roughly about $70,000. Okay, 254 institution holds almost 4 million Bitcoin total. The SEC, which is the Security Exchange Commission, right? They set all the regulations on trading and stuff like that, making sure that investors are safe. The SEC now calls Bitcoin a digital commodity, just like gold. The advice to avoid crypto, I would say it isn't wrong, but all I'm saying is that the strategy behind that investment is not complete. It's really how you look at it and from what angle. I believe that ignoring Bitcoin right now is like ignoring the internet back in the mid 1990s. Okay. Now, let me show you the real numbers because this is where it gets exciting. Okay. Right now, Bitcoin is trading roughly about $70,000, $75,000 when I had created this slide here. But you don't need to buy an entire Bitcoin, right? Of course, if you don't have $75,000 to buy a single Bitcoin, you can start with just $10 a week. And what ends up happening is when you buy the Bitcoin, right, you buy a partial piece of the Bitcoin, okay, like a fraction of it. There's a strategy called dollar cost averaging, where essentially what it is you buy the same amount every week or regularly, no matter what the price is doing. Okay, so you just continue to buy it, buy it, buy it. If it's at 75,000, moves up to 80,000, comes back to 78,000, etc. You just continue to keep buying it. Okay. When the price is high, of course, your $10 investment is going to buy a little bit less. But when the price drops, your $10 buys a lot more as well, right? Over time, this averages out your cost and essentially it takes away your stress from, buying it at the greatest price. If you put $10 into Bitcoin weekly from 2019 to 2024, you would have made the 202% return. And there's an advanced version that returned 1,145% over 7 years as well. Right now, I mentioned already, over 254 institutions hold about 18.6% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist. Okay, these are the smartest money managers in the world. They've done all their analysis. You know, they when they invest, when these funds invest, they invest their wealthy clients' money, dollars. Okay, that means that they can't just fool around with it. They got to make the best, most wisest decision based off of their analysis, and they're buying it with like serious amounts of cash. Obviously, that's why they own almost 20% of all Bitcoin that's out there. So that itself is a good sign. And if you think about it, right, when institutions own that large amount, it's essentially too big to fail. Okay, so now I want to tell you about some real good news that's happening right now in the crypto world. So the SEC, I mentioned to you all before, the Securities Exchange Commission, they've officially classified Bitcoin as a digital commodity, okay? That's a huge deal. Now, that means that Bitcoin is practically treated like gold, not like a stock. And it opened the door for more Bitcoin ETFs, which let regular people buy Bitcoin through their normal brokerage accounts as well. Okay, so if you're not, on one of the cryptocurrency exchange places like, I don't know, Coinbase or Kraken or something like that, Robinhood, and you're using a traditional platform like, I don't know, maybe Charles Schwab or Fidelity or any of those other ones, you can actually buy Bitcoin as an ETF. Essentially, it's like a stock, but that stock holds Bitcoin. That's how it works, okay? Now, next, the Genius Act was signed into law, okay? Genius Act. This is the first real stablecoin law in the United States. It practically gives crypto proper legal rules for the first time, and that essentially makes big companies feel a lot safer about getting involved. That's exactly why BlackRock holds over 800,000 Bitcoins in their ETF fund. 800,000 Bitcoin. Think about it, okay? That's worth over $60 billion. That's why I said it's too, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, it's really big to allow it to fail. I mean, a lot of things can come crashing down. And in the first quarter of 2026, companies bought 2.8 times more Bitcoin than miners could produce. That means demand is way higher than supply. All of these things point in the same direction, and Bitcoin is going more mainstream than ever, and it's the biggest players in the world are all touching it. They all want in on it. On this slide, I'm going to walk you through the four biggest reasons why you should pay attention to Bitcoin. So the first one, okay, Bitcoin is scarce by design. What that means, right? There's only going to be ever a maximum of 21 Bitcoins in existence. Okay, so there's that scarce factor. One reason why it's going to be very valuable. No government or company in the world can print more of the Bitcoins, okay? Think of it like digital gold, but even more scarce because, again, we know exactly how much Bitcoin there could be in the world to exist, okay? Number two, massive historical returns. Even with all the crashes, Bitcoin has outperformed stocks, gold, and real estate over any 5-year period. That track record is really hard to ignore. Number three, you can buy Bitcoin through regular investment accounts. I mentioned it already. Fidelity is a big one because a lot of people have their 401ks in it. So they end up getting some sort of other investment account, brokerage account with them. And then I mentioned to you all already, right? There's Bitcoin ETFs out there. So essentially like a stock that holds Bitcoin. You don't buy the Bitcoin directly, but you buy the ETF stock. And essentially what that does is the company who operates the ETF ends up having to back it with Bitcoin, meaning they got to buy Bitcoin to hold it. So Bitcoin ETFs let you buy in the same way you would buy a stock, okay? That's exactly it. No confusing wallets or no weird exchanges needed, right? It's pretty straightforward, straight through your traditional brokerage account. Number four, it helps protect against inflation. The dollar loses 3 to 4% of its value every year because of inflation, right? Government keeps printing out money, more money, billions per month. You don't believe me? Go and look into it. Look at the Federal Reserve website and you'll find some information there. Google it. Bitcoin has a fixed supply that can never be inflated. And that, to me, is the real advantage that they have. Okay, these real advantages, again, are all backed by real data. So I would like to share with you exactly how you could get started in the smart way, okay? First thing is to use the dollar cost averaging that I mentioned earlier. So pick an amount that is fair for you, okay? $10, $50 a week, whatever it might be, okay? And buy Bitcoin automatically every week. Don't try to guess if the price is going to go up or down, right? Just buy the same amount every single week and let time do the work for you as it grows. As it grows while you're sleeping, okay? Number two, keep crypto at 5 to 10% of your total investments. Now, I know that's a little bit it's may sound excessive because a lot of experts say, hey, use about 1 to 5% of your portfolio worth only on these type of investments or on any investments. If you're comfortable with risk, it's my opinion that you can go up to 10% or more, whatever's palatable for you. But I would absolutely suggest don't throw everything into just one basket, right? Another really important point is don't invest money you can't afford to lose. If you've got other purposes for it, paying expenses, paying your car loan, paying your mortgage, right? Make sure you take the responsible approach before you dive into anything, even outside of Bitcoin. Number three, balance with safer investments. Okay, put 60 to 70% in something like an index fund, the S&P 500. Okay, one really nice thing about the S&P 500 is that it already consists of all the 500 of the best companies in the world. So technically, I mean, you're always going to be investing in the best companies who are profiting. Then you can also put some money into bonds, right? 15 to 20% into bonds. Those are like because they're considered almost risk-free practically because they're paid by the US government, and essentially, what you're doing is you're loaning your money to the United States government, and then they pay you back on a yield for, the amount that you loaned over. So right now they're roughly about 4 to 5%, and it's essentially looked at as risk-free. And then our investments in cryptocurrency, right? Again, I mentioned it, 5 to 10% would be fair. But again, at the end of the day, it's whatever's palatable for you, and do the dollar cost averaging. Put $10 in every week and see how that turns out first. Okay. But I would like to share with you that if you at least are responsible in the way that you diversify, split your funds around, if crypto ends up crashing, I mean, don't panic sell. But at least if crypto does crash or drops down, I don't know, let's say Bitcoin drops down from 70,000 back to 45,000 or something like that, at least your whole life doesn't, fall apart or, come the sky doesn't come falling down. Okay. And it's got to be, whatever you invest, it's got to be palatable. Meaning, if you're losing, Warren Buffett would say, if you're not comfortable losing, having it come down 50%, right? You might not be in the right business. So whatever's palatable for you and your goals. So let me wrap up with the 4 biggest reasons that you should start investing in Bitcoin, okay? Number 1, Bitcoin is going mainstream, okay? 254 institutions hold 18.6% of all the Bitcoins that will ever exist, okay? The SEC classified it as a commodity, and ETFs made it available to everybody. Okay, so that means that it's it's viewed as a real commodity, just like gold. Okay. Number 2, dollar cost averaging, the smartest way. Okay, I already mentioned it. 10, $50 a week, whatever is good for you. And if you do it consistently, as Bitcoin grows, you'll grow with it. Okay, you don't have to worry about buying it all at the same time at the lowest price. You don't need to be a trading genius as well. That's the nice thing, especially if you get into the ETFs. You're just going to put your money there, sit there, and allow it to grow over time. And then number three, the biggest investors in the world are buying Bitcoin, right? BlackRock, incredible company, incredibly wealthy company. They have assets under management that is uh, insane amounts. Okay, they hold over 804,000 Bitcoins, and that's worth over more than $60 billion. That says something. Okay, companies are also buying faster than the people who are mining cryptocurrency, Bitcoin at least. And then number four, there's always regulatory fears and stuff like that, right? New laws and the ETFs made it easier and safer than ever to buy crypto, to be a part of that crypto or that Bitcoin um, growth. And the Genius Act and the SEC clarity mean crypto finally has some real rules, and that's why so many of the analysts and investors out there that has billions of dollars under management, that is why they are bullish. They think the Bitcoin can go up anywhere from up to $700,000 by the next 12 months. Okay, the opportunity is real, and of course, the smart money, the institutional investors, the people who are pouring in billions of dollars into this stuff, they know it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you've got any questions, drop it into the comment. I'll do my absolute best to respond back to you. Press on that thumbs up, give me a like, and press on that subscribe button. Subscribe because my next video on cryptocurrency and the cons of cryptocurrency will be coming out very soon. I'll go ahead and also put it on the ending screen for you all too, so that way you can find it without having to go into my YouTube channel. Now, I want to leave you with this, right? Your money could work harder for you. Keep that in mind. All this information I got is credible information. The numbers don't lie. Bitcoin has outperformed every major asset over the last 15 years, okay? Biggest companies in the world, again, are buying Bitcoin. And I just wanted to share that information with you. At the end of the day, make a wise decision on what you should do with your portfolio, with your investments, okay? But I wanted to at least inform you and be informative to help out and be helpful to everyone. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. My name's Curtis. Have a great day.